Have faith in yourselves. Greetings, we are the Arcturian Council. We are pleased to connect with all of you. We have sent all of you the energy that you have been requesting, the energy that will support you through the time that you have remaining in the fourth dimension. We know that you often feel stranded there, as all you can do is wait for something big to happen so that you can start living your lives as fifth-dimensional beings. We also know that you have more power, more creativity, and more access to higher frequency energy than you have ever had as a third-dimensional being. But you are still under the impression that you have to live out the rest of this time of transition in a third-dimensional way, and you do not. You are not trapped, and you can begin to enjoy what you have access to as fourth-dimensional beings. You can still create a beautiful life for yourself as you await the shift. Your journeys are not limited energetically in any way, but they are still limited by your minds. The more you look at life through a logical and reasonable lens, the more it is going to continue to show up as the same life that you have been living. Now, we can grant you access to all of the energy that you summon, but you still need to have enough faith in yourself to do something with it. We want you to know how significant it is that you are open to receiving that energy, and we also want you to understand how much power you have as creator beings in the here and now. You don't need to wait for your light bodies and your fifth-dimensional abilities to be able to create a wonderful reality for yourselves and the rest of humanity. This doesn't have to be a holding pattern for you. It can be the beautiful and wonderful experience of growth that you have always wanted to experience, and you can live without limitation. You can live the best of what life has to offer right now. So much to be hopeful for. We have the best intentions, and yet even we are at times coming up short with our attempts to be of service to all of you. Now, we tell you this because we would like for all of you to cut yourselves some slack. We want you to realize that you are doing the best that you can there on Earth, and that the circumstance you were born into on the world, well, were a little less than optimal. So as you look at the ways in which you have come up short in your lives, it is best for you to take into consideration that all of us in this universe are winging it to a certain degree. We are all doing the best that we can, and the circumstance of your lives right now should not be something that you use to beat yourselves up. Don't look at things that are unwanted and present, but put them together with things that are wanting and missing, and make some sort of evaluation based on those facts and figures. Now is a wonderful time for a clean slate. In fact, if you are only and always looking ahead, you are going to be able then to bring about positive change in your life. If you want to take stock of something, take stock of your vibration. Don't look at your bank account and your debt, your love life, your physical body as evidence of how you're doing. Look within for that evidence and feel for that person that you truly are, that person that you have become and the person you are becoming. There is so much for all of you to be hopeful for, so much for you to look forward to, and so much for you to embrace and receive from this universe. It's time to put away the measuring sticks and let go of the nagging voice in your head that says you should have done something differently or something better. It's time to just embrace yourselves as you are and where you are, and let yourselves get excited about where you are going. What no longer serves you? We are impressed with your ability to find new ways to let go of what does not serve you. We see you creating ceremonies around letting go. We see you crying and letting go. We see you using your will and your discipline to let go of that which is no longer in alignment with who you are. You take yourselves to new levels of awareness all the time, and so you are constantly finding more and more about the old way and your old approaches to life that are no longer in alignment with who and what you are becoming. Now, letting go of something is different from resisting it or denying that it ever existed. You don't need to denounce anything that was once a part of your life, and you certainly do not need to make sure everyone else is aware of how inappropriate that thing is that you're letting go of. Instead, you just need to recognize the vibrational incompatibility. Now, some things that no longer serve you in your lives are habitual. Some things you actually do out of a sense of tradition, and some will continue to do out of a sense of obligation. You are almost as creative in the ways that you hold on to that which no longer serves, but recently we have seen humanity make tremendous strides in letting go of that which is of the lowest frequency and that which does not serve. The important thing to realize is that you don't have to look at the past as filled with mistakes and things you need to regret. You don't have to punish yourselves for having taken part in something that is of a low frequency. You simply look at whatever is like a pair of jeans that no longer fit you. You can see everything as growth, and the fact that you are willing to take the steps necessary, creative as they are, to let go of something is an accomplishment. It is something to feel proud of, rather than regretting that which has been. Celebrate what you are moving into, and continue to create the wonderful and beautiful ceremonies and process and exercise for letting go, saying goodbye to that which has worn out its welcome. and we will continue to acknowledge you for it. Upgrades are coming. We have begun the process of giving you the various upgrades that you have been asking for. We are working, of course, in concert with your guides to provide you with the unique upgrades that each of you has been asking for individually. Now, these upgrades are different than the universal ones that you sometimes receive. Those upgrades are given because of where you are in your evolutionary journey, and they are given to everyone. The upgrades that we are referring to are the ones that you have personally requested, whether the request was for clairvoyance, the ability to channel, or to be able to heal others. We have been working with your guides and your higher selves because so many of you have been reaching out to us specifically, and we have been able to convince your guides and higher selves at time that you are ready for some true growth and some new abilities that will help sustain you during the rest of the time that you have in the fourth dimension. We are happy and eager to provide you with these upgrades while you sleep, and it is important for all of you to know that once you have an upgrade, you will still need to learn how to use it. So just because you receive a clairvoyance upgrade, that doesn't necessarily mean you're going to start accessing that gift without any focus on your part. Most of you will still need to sit and open your third eye to see what you are receiving. You will still need to master the use of the gifts you are given, and mostly you'll need to trust that what you are receiving is in fact real, and not just your imagination, your mind, or your ego. Receive your new gifts graciously and practice, and you'll have a lot more fun there on Earth with your new toys. What you are doing on Earth. We have begun to explore the possibilities that are in front of humanity, and what we can see is that you are on your way to experience a much gentler shift in consciousness than you were 5, 10, 15, 20 years ago. The astounding amount of progress that you have made is raising quite a few eyebrows, both in the physical and non-physical realm. We attribute your progress to the way that we see you handling hardships and downright defeat. There are many of you who have contemplated suicide on your journey, and yet fewer of you have committed suicide than would have been the case in previous lives. It's something you've all done before, and everyone who is receiving this message has to also turn to drugs or alcohol in this lifetime or in previous ones to deal with these letdowns. You have faced enormous challenges in this lifetime, and that includes the processing of traumas in previous lifetimes, and yet here you are. Many of you still want to know what you are doing on planet Earth. You want to know why you are there and what you are supposed to do. Well, from our perspective, we see you doing it every day. We see you hanging in there. We see you rolling with the punches that life throws at you, and we want to say to all of you who are awakened that your number one mission is to be there and to stay there. You want to see this shift through to its completion, and in doing so, you are facing so much of what you don't want to face. We have to say that we are feeling a tremendous amount of respect and pride for all of you who are there on planet Earth, sticking it out through the tough times. You will inherit the fifth dimensional Earth. This we know. This is on every timeline that we see. Facts versus feelings. We've been examining the different ways that you all communicate with each other, and we see that there are some definite areas where you could improve the effectiveness of your communication. First of all, we suggest that when you are talking with someone, you really listen to what the other person is saying. Now, you may be eager to express your point of view, but it is also important to give the other person the chance to speak and to be heard. Now, if you're in the midst of a conversation where you're in a disagreement with the other person, many of you attempt to prove that your way of thinking or looking at a situation is the right one, and that assumes that there is only one right way to see something. If you feel strongly about something, then rather than trying to prove that your point of view is the right one, talk about how you feel. Talking about your emotions is something that brings you closer to another person. Talking about facts never will bring you closer to another person, but talking about your feelings has the potential to elicit compassion, and it opens the other person up to share what he or she is feeling. And then you have real intimacy. There is a lot of polarity in your world today, and much of it is fueled by politics. When you see that everyone's perspective is coming from their experiences and their feelings, there's a lot better chance of bringing sides together. And that's what you're here to do at this time. You are here to depolarize your society. And you're not going to get there by arguing and trying to prove that your perspective is the right one. You also need to allow other people to have their perspective if you want to be more like source energy. Source energy always allows everything to be as it is, and beings who are ascending to the fifth dimension, it is much better for you to look to the source energy perspective and hold that as best as you can. And the best place to start is with each other. The sensitivity of the awakened. It takes a certain amount of sensitivity to awaken. You cannot just awaken in your mind. You must also awaken with your senses, your feelings, and sensitivity is a big part of the awakening process. If you do not know how you feel, how would you know when something is resonating with you? How would you be able to access the emotion of love? Your sensitivity is a strength, and it comes with a side effect. That side effect is that you also can feel more pain. We are living in a dualistic universe where there are certain polarities, and you are beings that have been operating within a great deal of polarity. What that means is you can go very far in either direction on a spectrum. The more pain you can feel, the more love. The more love you can feel, the more fear. And so, if you are afraid of feeling anything, then you are dumbing down your sensitivity to feel everything. And that simply is not going to work for those of you who are awakened. That's why you chose to be the sensitive ones before you incarnated. You chose to have deep feelings and big feelings. And some of you chose to ignore them for most of your lives. Others chose to drown them with alcohol or numb them with drugs. But eventually, you came to this place where you are now. You are at a place where you can not only feel your emotions, but you also understand the strength and power that you have access to because of them. By accessing your emotions, you become better at offering vibrations. And when you become better at offering vibrations, you become better creators. And when you sit down with all feelings inside of you and be at peace, at one with everything and everyone, then you will know that you have in fact become your higher self. And you will know in those moments that you have set foot in the fifth dimension. The fifth dimensional experience. We are putting an emphasis at this time on your connecting with and to Mother Nature and planet Earth. We know that you live in a fast-paced world, high-tech, industrialized, and you spend most of your time fairly separated from that which is natural, that which is pristine, and that which comes directly from the earth. So now it takes a bit of effort to connect. You don't need to connect with nature in the way that you used to in order to survive. In fact, it usually follows that the more successful a person is, the less connected to nature they are. Sometimes some of you reach a point where you realize this truth, and you go back to nature. It can and often does take a lot of time and money to get back to nature. So some of you have to be creative, especially those who live in big cities. You have to find parks and patches of green to make that connection, which is crucial now to being in a higher vibrational state. You must look for your opportunities to connect with Mother Nature and with Mother Earth, as they are both guiding you with the high vibrations that they give off. You have reached a point in your evolution where the higher your vibration gets, the more you need nature to feel balanced and to feel connected. And the truth is that the earth doesn't need you to connect with her, but she does appreciate it when you do. And a joyous earth is an earth that gives off even more of that high-frequency vibration. Earth will never reject you, no matter what you do. She will always be the embodiment of unconditional love in the physical form. But you have to go looking at times for the opportunities to connect with her, and that is what we encourage you to do. That is going to bring you closer to the fifth dimensional experience that you are looking for in your lives. Pollution and spiritual evolution. We have begun to examine the effects of your pollution on your consciousness and your ability to raise vibration, and our preliminary findings suggest that it does affect you more than you often think it does. You have a capacity to heal your bodies that goes underutilized by most of you. Most of you accept that your air, food, and water are polluted, and then when you get sick, you go to the doctor, and the doctor usually prescribes you more toxins. The consciousness of the human being can, of course, rise above pollutants and toxins, but you make it much easier on yourself to evolve and expand when you put yourselves in a place where the air is cleaner, the food is organic, and the water comes from a spring. Now, we understand that after hearing this or reading this message, you are not all going to just pack up and move to another part of the world where there's less of this pollution. But here's what you can do. You can pay more attention to what you put in your bodies. You can get away from the cities as often as you can and do some conscious, deep breathing in the forest or in the mountains or by the beach. You can take the approach to your health and well-being that is more natural. You can see yourselves as being capable of healing from anything if you simply remove that which is toxic to you, and we include your toxic thoughts and emotions in that. When you are feeling better vibrationally, you are going to gravitate towards that which feels better physically. You are going to gravitate towards the food and the activities and the places that best serve you and expansion of your consciousness. Again, you can evolve and expand even under the conditions of a highly polluted city with chemical-laden food and water. But why not make it easier on yourselves? Becoming your whole selves. We have awakened within you a sense of who you have been, and we have simultaneously awakened a sense that you have where you are going. You are going to be where we are someday, and we know that many of you would like to jump right to the ninth dimension. But we also know that you'd be missing out so much fun if you did. The joy of the journey is not only possible, it is highly likely from this point of view. Now that you are awakened and ascending, you must realize that everything can only get better from where you are. Everything is expanding, raising its vibration, and becoming less polarized. So as you ascend from one dimension to the next, you don't experience the same degree of polarity. You don't experience the same intensity that you have there on Earth, in the third and fourth dimension. We invite you to feel for the unification of our energy. Because we know ourselves as a collective, there is no fragmentation and there is no separation. What you really want to do is to feel that within yourselves now. You don't need to skip dimensions in order to get to the place of feeling unified. You can defragment yourselves and let go of the idea of separation between you and any other on the planet. And in so doing, you will minimize the polarity that you experience right now. You don't need to wait for anything to happen. You don't need to wait for the shift to occur. You can start living as you want to live in the here and now. And you don't have to earn anything. You just have to choose. Choose to be the whole version of yourself, the version of you that knows you are a collective, and that you are one with all beings. And suddenly the fourth dimension won't seem like such a backward place. That is your journey. That is what you all came to do, and there's no need for you to wait even a moment longer. Listen to your feelings. You are the best judges of whether or not something is right for you, and yet we see so many of you asking others to guide you. We see you in your uncertainty, looking for answers from others, and you tend to look within very little for those answers. Here is a good indicator of whether something is right for you. If it would be impossible to talk you out of it, then it's right for you. If it is right for someone to talk you into it, then it's not. You do not need to be convinced to do something that is overwhelmingly calling you towards it, but you do need to be convinced to do something that you're not really sure about and you're certainly not passionate about. If you need to remind yourselves of what you are passionate about, then make a list of all the things that you feel passionate about and use that list to help you determine whether something is right for you. But don't just let the list decide. Tune in to what's going on inside of you if you see that a particular version of your passion is right for you. Maybe it is, but maybe the timing isn't right. So again, this is something that you cannot get from someone else's opinion. You cannot ask someone else if the timing is right for you because they don't know. But if you are honest with yourself, you know. Sometimes you all just want so much to be doing something that it'll take action even when it's not in alignment with how you feel. And we understand that. Your society is based on lots and lots of doing. But it's time to get comfortable with not doing. It's time to get comfortable with waiting and receiving rather than going out and getting something. You have so much guidance within you that if you ever have to ask for someone else's opinion and you know that you're not listening to your guidance, you know that it's your mind that's trying to convince you and you want some help. You want some support for the mind games of talking you into something. But your feelings will never do that, so trust them. Trust them more than you trust anyone else in your life. We are the Arcturian Council, and we have enjoyed connecting with you. End of Volume 2.